My name is Piotr Dębski. I am an authorised fitter with Barlinek, the largest manufacturer of wood floors in Poland and one of the largest in the world. A wood floor is a product made to last for years, but this involves it being properly installed and appropriately cared for. Thanks to its layered structure, the Barlinek Floorboard conducts heat well and can be successfully applied on both electric and water underfloor heating. This is one of the advantages it has over solid wood floors. All layered floors produced by Barlinek, whether oiled or lacquered, can be laid over water or electrical floor heating. On a heated floor, we recommend you install it by gluing it down. This method means there is no underlay material under the floorboards, improving the heat insulation. I'm going to show you how to properly install a layered floor over water-based underfloor heating using the adhesive method. Use Barlinek adhesive and Barlinek primer. The glue is flexible and allows the floor to expand or contract due to changes in temperature. The Barlinek Floorboard is a natural product made from 100% wood. The structure of the floorboard is resistant to the changes in the air temperature and humidity. Not one, but 3 layers of wood are arranged in a modern cross formation. Every Barlinek floorboard is a ready product, finished with lacquer or oil, which can be used as soon as it is fitted. Anyone who is even remotely keen on DIY can lay a Barlinek floor without help. If you're not sure you can manage to glue down the floor, use the services of an authorised Barlinek fitter. Before layered wood floors are laid, all wet work on walls and ceilings and slanting loft walls should be finished, including priming, stopping, painting and decorative plastering. The room and subfloor which the floor is to be laid on must meet the following conditions. The moisture content of a cement-based subfloor should not exceed 2% or 0.5% where there are plasterboard pads. The temperature should be between 18 degrees Celsius and 24 degrees Celsius when installing and using the floor, and the relative humidity of the air should be maintained at a level between 45 and 60%. The quality of the concrete flooring you're laying it on is also important. Place a 2-meter transversing rule on the subfloor. The level can't deviate by more than 3 millimeters from the horizontal along the entire length of the rule. The concrete should be compact with no cracks or holes. It should also meet the relevant strength criteria: compression strength of 25 megapascal and peel strength of 1 megapascal. It is very important to properly carry out the heating procedure in the subfloor before fitting the floorboards. This will enable traces of moisture to be removed from the concrete. The heating procedure takes 30 days. On the first day, set the temperature to 20 degrees Celsius. Then for the next 3 days, increase it by 10 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. Maintain the temperature at 50 degrees Celsius for another 12 days. Then, for the next 3 days, decrease it by 10 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius and switch it off for 5 days. Then every 24 hours, set it to 20 degrees Celsius, 30 degrees Celsius, 40 degrees Celsius, then 50 degrees Celsius. Then decrease it to 40 degrees Celsius, 30 degrees Celsius and 20 degrees Celsius. After the heating procedure is completed, you can be sure that when using the floor, no moisture will get into the floorboards and damage them. You should record the heating procedure of the subfloor in the report template to be found on the Barlinek's website. For a wood-layered floor to function properly over subfloor heating, the surface temperature should be maintained at temperature range from plus 18 degrees Celsius to 27 degrees Celsius. The maximum heating power may not exceed 100 watts per square meter over electric heating. Remember to acclimatize the Barlinek boards in the factory packaging in the place where they are to be fitted for at least 48 hours before laying them. During this time, the wood floor adapts to the conditions in which it will be fitted and used. To assemble your floor, you will need a 1000-gram hammer, professional tapper, mounting lug, spacing wedges, a key for the 5Gs lock, square, electric or handsaw, a toothed trowel for spreading glue, a roller for laying the primer, a knife for cutting, a tape measure, pencil. The direction the floor is laid in depends on the dimensions of the room and the direction the sunlight comes in. If none of the room walls exceeds 8 meters, the flooring should run lengthwise towards the sunlight that is perpendicular to the most sunlit window of the room. If any room side is longer than 8 meters, or the flooring is installed in a long and narrow room, such as a corridor, the floorboard should be fitted down the length of the room. After establishing the direction for laying the floor, measure the width of the room. Take the width of the expansion gaps, 2 × 15 mm, away from the result and divide it by the width of a floorboard. In this way, you can calculate how many rows of floorboards you have to lay and where to cut off the last row of floorboards. If the last row is less than 70 mm wide, you should also trim the first row laid. Before gluing down the floorboards, you must prime the subfloor. Apply the primer evenly over the surface with a roller. Consumption of the primer is approximately 100 to 200 milliliters per square meter, depending on the surface absorptivity. Wait about 2 hours for the primer to dry, then get started on gluing down the floor. Cut open the packs of floorboards with the knife from the bottom up so as not to damage the surface of the floorboard. Remember that Barlinek Floorboard is 100% wood and each has a unique appearance. Before laying the floor, you should lay out the floorboards and plan the pattern. After this, you can get started on the installation. Use the electric or handsaw to trim off the tongue sticking out on the first row of floorboards. This allows the expansion gap to be made properly at the wall. Use the toothed trowel to spread the glue over the width of 2 rows of flooring. Rub the glue into the subfloor so that it covers the concrete. When using this method, it is important not to glue on the surface layer of the floorboard. If that happens, you should clean it off using Barlinek Intensive Glue Remover. Lay the first floorboard, then use the spacing wedges to leave a 15 mm gap by each wall. Before leaving the floorboard, check that the tab is correctly positioned in the lock. The end of the tab should be in line with the surface layer of the floorboard. This is important, because otherwise you can't connect the floorboards. Add the next floorboard to the short edge, then let go. Remember that floorboard connections in neighbouring rows must be staggered by a minimum of 50 centimeters. Add another floorboard and let it drop. Use the tapper and hammer to knock the floorboard home on the lateral edge. Do the same with the subsequent rows of floorboards. When tapping in the floorboards, be careful not to get glue on the tapper. The 5G's locks are locked in by sliding the tabs of the lock, which will be moved by the tongue of the floorboard being added. Fit the last row of floorboards by measuring the width of the floorboard and taking into account the 15 mm expansion gap from the wall. Tap the floorboard in using the mounting lug. Connect the floorboards at the front edge with the aid of the key to the 5G's lock. Set the key so that the closed lock is visible on it. After the key is properly positioned, pull it towards you, thus closing the lock and joining the floorboards. Do the same with the rest of the floorboards. When installing the floor in the door frame, you absolutely have to leave an expansion gap 25 mm wide. Cover the gap with the expansion slat. After the skirting board is fitted, our floor is ready to use. Now you can watch our videos about fitting and caring for Barlinek natural wood floors.